Good day, my name is Netemba Moelase. In this video, I will reflect on the lesson I prepared for grade 10 isiZulu home language. This topic of the lesson is the proverbs and the idioms, which means izaganization. I chose this topic because proverbs and idioms are important part of isiZulu language and culture. They help people express ideas in a deeper or more meaningful way. The lesson had three main objectives. First objective was for learners to identify different Zulu proverbs and idioms. The second objective for learners was to explain the meaning of the proverbs and idioms, and lastly, which is the third one, objectives, was for learners to create their own sentences using the expression correctly. These objectives was based on Bloom's taxonomy theory and were designed for learners to remove from the basic understanding and from their knowledge. For the introduction phase, I used the Microsoft PowerPoint presentation. The presentation contained different proverbs and idioms together with their pictures that were related to the meanings. I stated by displaying the slides and asking the learners whether they had ever heard any of the expression before. Some learners recognize a few of the expressions of them because they heard from their families and other community members. The other learners were not familiar with the expression, which created their curiosity and interest. Learners were encouraged to look at the pictures and make guesses about the meaning of these idioms and the proverbs. Then we discussed their answers as a class. So the purpose of this activity was to introduce the topic in a simple and interesting way, while also finding out what the learners already knew. The ICT tool used was Microsoft PowerPoint. According to some model, this activity falls under the substitution level because the PowerPoint slides replace the printed pictures, flashcards, or information that could have been written on the board. The technology that was used as a direct replacement, but the task itself remained as the same. So this activity helped learners achieve the first objective because it allows them to identify and recognize different proverbs and idioms before learning more about the whole proverb and idioms. So during this development phase, learners watch a short additional video about Zulu proverbs and idioms. This video explained the meaning of the proverb idiom in a different expression, and it gave them the practical example of what they are used to in everyday situation. While watching, the learners were asked to pay attention to the explanation and examples. After the video, the learners work in small groups to discuss what they had learned from the video. And each group received a few proverbs, idioms, and had to explain their meaning. to the rest of the class. So learners also share the examples of the situation where the expression could be used, and this really created the opportunities for discussion and helped learners to learn from each other. The ICT tool for this activity was YouTube additional video. According to the sum model, this video falls under the augmentation level because the technology improved the learning experience. And this video also provided the sound, visual, and the examples that made the content more easier to understand. So the learners could hear the correct pronunciation of the expression and see the example that are being used in a context. So this activity really helped the learners achieve the second objection because they were able to explain the meaning of the proverbs and the items more confidently after watching the video and discussing the content. For the consolidation phase, learners were used to make and create the digital video poster. That's the video, sorry. Each learners were selected one proverb and items that they found interesting. They then wrote the meaning of the proverb and then created their own sentences showing it could be used correctly. And then the learners were encouraged and suitable pictures designed for their posters and creating way after completing their posters. They presented their work to the class, explain why they've chosen that particular proverb or idiom. This gave the learners an opportunity to share their own understanding and they learn from each other's ideas. So the ICT tool that was used was Canva, according to the SAM model. This activity also falls under the modification level because the technology allows the learners to complete the task in a completely different way. So instead of writing the information on the paper only, the learners they also created the digital posters that combine text, images, and designs elements. This made the task more engaging and allowed the learners to express their understanding creatively. So this activity it helped the learners to achieve the third objective because they were able to apply their knowledge by using the proverb and the items in the class in their own original sentences in the classroom. So looking back at the lesson, I believe that the activity they were successful because the learners remain actively involved throughout the lesson during the class. So the use of ICT tool made the lesson more interesting and encouraged the participation. So the lesson also encouraged the critical thinking because learners had to think carefully about the meaning of their expressions and how they could be used in a different situation. So overall, I'm satisfied with the lesson was planned and implemented. So the lesson objectives were achieved and the learners were able to identify, explain, and use the Zulu proverbs and idioms correctly. So the integration of technology throughout the PowerPoint, YouTube, Canva really supported and made the lesson more engaging and interesting. So this experience really showed me that ICT can play an important role in improving the teaching and learning when it is used effectively. It also reminded me of the importance of creating lessons that are interactive, meaningful, and suitable for the needs of the different learners. So, thank you for watching my reflection.